Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're taking a look into the expat world of Hong Kong.
Yeah, it's a really fascinating place.
And our guide for this is moveandstay.com. They've actually been helping business travelers and expats find places across Asia for, what, over 25 years now?
That's right, a long time. They've seen a lot change, I imagine. And Hong Kong, well, it's such a global hub, isn't it? Draws people from absolutely everywhere.
It really does. And, moving somewhere new, it's exciting, sure, but there's always that need to connect, to find your feet.
Absolutely. Building that support network is fundamental. So this deep dive, it's really about understanding how expats manage that in such a dynamic city like Hong Kong.
Exactly. And moveandstay.com gives us a good overview, touches on the huge mix of nationalities there, the social networks people build, the cultural stuff they get involved in, but also, the challenges.
And the job opportunities too, of course. That's a big draw for many.
Right. So our kind of mission today is to unpack that whole expat experience using Move and Stay's insights.
Yeah, give you some real tangible takeaways, whether you're maybe thinking about moving yourself or just curious about these kinds of global communities.
Okay, let's dive right in. Moveandstay.com really emphasizes that Hong Kong isn't just international. It's like profoundly diverse, not just a sprinkle of different people.
Yeah, no, it's layered. You immediately see the sheer number of nationalities. Obviously, you have big groups from the UK, the US, Australia, Canada, long historical ties there.
Right, the expected ones, maybe.
But Move and Stay also flags significant communities from France, Germany, Japan.
Ah, okay. So already broader than you might first think.
Exactly. And it doesn't stop there. They specifically mention strong communities from Southeast Asia, South Asia, even African nations.
Wow, so it truly is a melting pot.
It really seems like it. And the key thing is that constant exposure to different viewpoints, different ways of doing things, it makes Hong Kong incredibly multifaceted.
And Move and Stay points out these groups don't just live side by side in bubbles.
No, apparently there's a lot of interaction, which is great, right? Fosters understanding, leads to friendships across cultures.
That interaction must be key. You can see how Move and Stay, having been there so long, would have observed that. It built a richer social fabric.
Definitely. It's not just about expats enriching their own lives. That exchange brings new energy, new ideas into the city itself.
And the size of these communities,
Yeah.
it has a real impact, doesn't it? Move and Stay must see that reflected in things like the food scene, the arts.
Oh, no, absolutely. The food alone. But beyond that, these established groups, the ones Move and Stay has been connecting people with for decades, they provide crucial support for newcomers.
Like an instant network.
Sort of, yeah. People who get the challenges, the settling in process makes a huge difference.
Okay, so moving on to finding your people, that social side, Move and Stay really stresses how vital building networks is.
It's fundamental. You can imagine Move and Stay sees this in what people search for, the connections they need. They probably highlight all sorts of ways to connect.
Like meetups and things.
Yeah, informal groups based on hobbies, hiking, photography, book clubs, whatever, or professional networking things, even family stuff.
And they mention meetup.com specifically, which makes sense. It's like there's already an infrastructure there for finding your niche.
Right, and then you have the more formal international clubs and associations.
What role do they play?
They often offer a bit more structure, maybe workshops, regular events. Good for people who want something a bit more organized, which, again, Move and Stay likely caters to.
Oh, we can't forget online, right? Facebook groups, forums, WhatsApp. Move and Stay must see how crucial those are now.
Oh, definitely. Lifelines, especially at the start, for asking those questions you feel are maybe silly.
Yeah, we've all been there.
Figuring out transport, finding where to buy things, and just getting tips on local events, stuff you might otherwise miss. They help you tap into the wider city life beyond just the initial expat contacts Move and Stay might help you find.
Okay, let's shift to culture. Move and Stay likely pushes expats to get involved locally, not just stick to the international scene.
For sure. And Hong Kong offers so much. Think about the big festivals. Chinese New Year's huge, obviously.
Parades, lion dances.
Exactly. Then there's Mid-Autumn Festival, the Rugby Sevens, which is legendary.
Right.
Christmas, New Year displays. Move and Stay probably flags these as prime time for experiencing local traditions.
And those unique ones, too, like the Chung Chau Bun Festival. Sounds amazing.
Yeah. And the point Move and Stay likely makes is that these aren't just spectator sports. You get involved, share the experience with locals and other expats.
What about outside the big festivals? Arts and music.
Huge scene. You've got major events like Art Basel, but also loads of smaller galleries, especially around areas like Shangwan Central, plus music venues for every taste, film festivals.
Lots to explore. Move and Stay probably points to these as ways to feel the city's creative vibe.
And for active people, Hong Kong seems surprisingly good for that, despite the density.
Yeah, Move and Stay probably highlights the hiking Dragon's Back is famous, right?
Yeah, totally. And water sports sailing, kayaking, loads of gyms, yoga, climbing walls, plus loads of expat sports teams, football, netball, rugby.
So lots of ways to connect through activity.
Definitely. And that easy access to nature beaches, trails, that's a big plus. Move and Stay likely emphasizes it's a great way to meet people, locals, and expats. Doing things you enjoy really helps you feel settled.
But it's not all easy, is it? Move and Stay, being in the business of helping expats, must also cover the challenges.
You need that balance, yeah. And they likely provide insights into the hurdles. Work visas are often a big one.
How so?
Well, the government tends to prioritize roles locals can't easily fill, so it's often linked very specifically to your job offer. Can be complex. Getting advice is usually recommended, something Move and Stay might point towards.
Makes sense. And then there's just adjusting to the culture.
Yeah, the whole cultural adjustment piece. Move and Stay probably mentions things like different communication styles, maybe business
The
etiquette.
fast pace, the crowds.
All of that. It takes time to adapt. Patience is key. That's probably the standard advice Move and Stay echoes. Learning even a few Cantonese phrases helps.
In connecting with other expats who've been through it.
Exactly. Sharing experiences and understanding it's a two-way street. You adapt, but you also bring your own perspective.
What about social integration beyond other expats? Any difficulties there?
Well, Move and Stay likely notes the language barrier can be an issue, potential for misunderstandings. And it does take effort to build local friendships. It can be easy to just stay in the expat bubble.
So you need to make a conscious effort.
Yeah, Move and Stay probably encourages that. Joining local activities, stepping outside the familiar. That's how you really get to know Hong Kong, build those deeper connections.
Okay, let's talk jobs, professional life. Move and Stay serving business folks for so long must have a good handle on the job market.
You'd think so. Hong Kong's still a major finance center, right? So banking, asset management, fintech, still strong demand there.
But it's not just finance.
No, Move and Stay probably also highlights the big boom in tech software, data science, cybersecurity. Lots happening there.
Anything else stand out?
Healthcare often gets mentioned, partly due to the aging population. And then more niche areas, too, maybe video production, property tech, social media, even F&B. Move and Stay's own listings probably reflect this diversity.
And language skills. Crucial.
Not always essential, apparently, though obviously helpful. Move and Stay probably finds that specialized skills and experience are often the main focus for many expat roles.
And getting ahead career-wise. Networking seems key.
Absolutely vital in Hong Kong. Move and Stay probably tells its users, go to industry events, join professional groups, use LinkedIn, build those connections.
Word of mouth is important.
Hugely important. It takes time, but that network is critical for long-term success. Move and Stay likely understands this is a major part of settling in professionally, being proactive, reaching out.
Okay, and physically settling in, finding a place to live. Move and Stay's core business, right? They must have insights here.
Definitely. They'd know the popular spots, like mid-levels close to central international schools. Popular but pricey.
Right. Any others?
Discovery Bay gets mentioned for families more relaxed, bigger spaces, but again, generally higher cost. Sai Kung offers maybe a more local vibe, closer to nature.
But housing isn't easy, is it? Move and Stay must warn people about that.
Oh yeah. Space is tight, prices are high, big deposits, rent in advance, dealing with agents and their fees. It's a process.
So what's the advice?
Start early, get your paperwork sorted, and talk to people already there, other expats. That local knowledge is gold. Move and Stay is obviously a great starting point for the search itself.
But on the upside, local services are generally good.
Very good, usually. Move and Stay probably points to the super efficient public transport, MTR, buses, ferries. Affordable too. Good supermarkets, reliable healthcare options, both public and private, good internet.
The essentials are covered.
Pretty much. And while English gets you quite far, Move and Stay probably still gently encourages learning some Cantonese. It just helps daily life and shows respect, helps integrate.
Okay, last big area. The contribution expats make. Move and Stay, seeing this over 25 years, must have a perspective.
Yeah, economically it's significant. Filling skilled jobs, paying taxes, starting businesses, spending money in shops and restaurants. It all adds up. Helps keep Hong Kong competitive.
And the government actively recruits specialists, right?
Exactly, which underscores that economic value.
But it's more than just money, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. The cultural exchange Move and Stay likely sees is huge. New foods, art, music, festivals, expats bring new flavors, participate, share their own cultures. It's a two-way street.
And community involvement.
Yeah, lots of expats get involved in volunteering, environmental groups, social welfare projects that helps build bridges, fosters relationships between different communities, getting involved with local schools, for example.
So summing up, Move and Stay's perspective seems to show this really dual nature to expat life in Hong Kong. Big opportunities, but also that risk of the bubble.
Precisely. The key takeaway seems to be, make the effort to step outside that bubble. Embrace the local culture, connect with local people, really immerse yourself.
That's how you truly appreciate the city.
Yeah, it's about making it more than just a place you live temporarily. It's about finding your place, understanding your new home.
Well, this deep dive, drawing on moveandstay.com's long experience, certainly paints a picture of a really vibrant, really diverse expat scene. Lots of potential for connection, lots of culture.
But also definite challenges to navigate, yeah. Makes you think, what parts of that resonate most with you? The diverse communities, the cultural buzz, or maybe the challenge of adapting?
And maybe thinking bigger. How do these experiences in a place like Hong Kong reflect what's happening globally with migration, multicultural societies?
Right. What can we learn from Hong Kong about building bridges, fostering understanding in a world that's just getting more and more connected? Definitely leaves you with something to chew on.